Hello guys, in this video, we're gonna break down the latest analyst report from Kpop Securities on HYBE. Analysts are now calling HYBE their top pick in the K-pop sector. Well, many analysts, I would say, projecting record revenues of 4.2 trillion Korean won in 2026, driven by, of course, the BTS World Tour comeback and rapid expansion through localized artist groups like KATSEYE. So this is the report that I'm going to read. It's multiple pages long, but I'm only gonna pay attention to what it says about HYBE, and we'll also cover HYBE's booming merchandise business, the rise of light fandoms. So that's the keyword that they emphasize: light fandoms. So that's a trend that's happening in K-pop, and why localization could redefine the economics of K-pop industry. And this video might interest some of you, might not. And primarily, this is for my own educational purpose. Okay. So here's a table of contents: new trend, new strategy. So that's the title of this report. Valuation and investment strategy. So they're designating HYBE as their top pick for Kpop securities firm. YG Entertainment is their second pick. Number two, a changing fandom and changing consumption patterns. So this is something that interested me. From core fandoms to light fandoms, extended artist lifespans, shift toward content-centered markets. So we might think about how entertainment companies like HYBE should respond to the changing landscape or changing patterns in terms of the fandom activities or their behaviors. Overseas localization groups as growth engines. By that we can already guess that they're going to talk about KATSEYE, and also localized groups in Latin America as well, right? Japan, of course, they're going to talk about America, North America, Japan, and Latin America. What else? MD, the growth cycle is just beginning. So they're going to talk about merchandise, and then the specific company analysis. We're going to finish there by focusing on HYBE. Okay, so let's start here. New trend, new strategy, a changing fandom and changing consumption patterns. So this page basically sums up the entire report. The fandom structure is shifting from core fandoms to light fandoms, expanding geographically from Asia to North America and Europe. This broader light fandom base is extending artists' lifespans and stabilizing the industry. Revenue from long-standing IPs through tours and merchandise remains steady, while new and localized groups grow in parallel. So by reading that, I have a feeling that this might connect to what I have said recently about the need that I feel for the K-pop industry, specifically the traditional fandom culture, to change if K-pop wants to really grow globally. You know what I'm saying? And maybe the trend is going in the right direction. So I'll be looking forward to that section. Also, it says, at the same time, content-centric fandom management is becoming a key strategy. With the intensifying competition to secure global fandoms, content investment and costs are expected to rise. As a result, content monetization and subscription-based models are likely to emerge as new growth pillars for the industry. Okay, interesting. So it doesn't mean that they're gonna monetize content more. And speaking of content, we know who was really a pioneer in terms of the content, making contents in the K-pop industry, right? That is BTS, who has made their own contents even before their debut. They're one of the groups who most actively use their social media channels to communicate with their fans. Also, it says overseas localization groups as future growth engines. KATSEYE has become a standout success story of localization in the US market, and expectations for localization groups are climbing once again. As localization expands quickly across large markets in North and South America, These groups are expected to become a major long-term growth engine for the K-pop industry. All right. MD, merchandise, entering the early stages of a high growth cycle. MD sales are expected to reach 1.6 trillion Korean won in 2026, up 47% year on year, continuing the strong growth cycle. Increased concert attendance and the expansion of MD product lines are key drivers. Another focal point is the differentiation of the MD strategies by entertainment company. Future growth will likely come from region-specific MD lineups, which can boost top line growth, and from production leverage, which can improve profitability. The sector is entering the early stage of a strong MD growth cycle, which is expected to become a core pillar of the entertainment industry's future expansion. Top picks: HYBE and YG Entertainment. The top pick is HYBE, with YG as a secondary pick. HYBE is expected to see the most powerful long-term growth momentum in the sector, driven by BTS full group comeback in 2026 and accelerated global expansion through localization groups. YG Entertainment has multiple near-term catalysts, including BLACKPINK's encore concert announcements, Baby Monster's world tour expansion, and the 20th anniversary activities of Big Bang. With solid earnings and expected stock recovery, YG's position as a strong secondary pick in the industry. I thought I read a Korean article saying that BLACKPINK began filming for their music video or something. Anyways, all right. Here's the first section: valuation and investment strategy. Short-term correction, long-term structural growth. This year, Korea's entertainment industry has entered a high growth cycle driven primarily by live performances and merchandise, with both earnings and stock prices showing strong upward momentum. As pent-up demand for concerts exploded post-pandemic and global tours expanded, the overall scale of the industry grew significantly. Fandom-driven consumption has also diversified beyond concerts to include pop-up stores, online content, and MD purchases, broadening revenue streams. Year-to-date stock performance reflects this momentum. HYBE 40%, SM54, JYP 3, YG 97%. JYP 3%? Sorry. Compared to KOSPI's 56% and KOSTOCK 27%. Yeah, this year, Korean stock market has boomed and is booming. KOSPI chart. Ever since the new administration came in, because last year it was a whole lot of mess with martial law declaration and everything, and impeachment. KOSPI is doing really well. So compared to KOSPI and KOSTOCK, the Korean market, entertainment stocks have done better actually. So HYBE 40%, SM 54%, JYP 3%, YG 97%, meaning they have outperformed the overall market. YG in particular saw the strongest rally, supported by the dual momentum of BLACKPINK and Baby Monster. Now, however, over the past month, stocks have pulled back. HYBE by 7%, SM 19%, JYP 6%, YG 8%. While KOSPI gained 10% and KOSTOCK rose 2%. The report says, this correction is largely attributed to profit-taking after strong early year gains and capital rotation toward semiconductors and secondary batteries, rather than any fundamental deterioration in the entertainment sector, which is what I have mentioned recently in one of my videos, right? For example, HYBE, it has corrected in terms of the price past month, and now some people are saying that, this is because, I don't know, the risk factor around Bang Xiao or the company management, whatever. But I said, look, if that's the case, other K-pop stocks must have risen, but that's not the case. The entire sector is going through a correction. But if you lengthen the time frame, HYBE is doing quite well. Rising by 43% the past year, and this year alone, So 43%. And since the bottom, it has risen more than, you know, I'm looking at 2022, right? So compared to 2024 bottom, it has risen almost, by 100%. So it's doing quite well. But what I said was that right now, there's a sector rotation, and investors have been paying increasing attention to the largest stock in Korea and the second largest, Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, which are both semiconductor stocks. Okay. Sorry, this might not interest you, but anyways, yeah. So Samsung is booming after suffering from this, range-bound territory. It has boomed, and SK Hynix is one of the most, best performing stocks in Korea lately, this year and last year. So what the report is saying is that, look, K-pop stocks have been doing well, even compared to the overall market. But it's just that the past month or a couple months, there has been a sector rotation. So there's nothing wrong with the fundamentals. That's what the analyst says. The underlying growth momentum remains intact. With BTS and BLACKPINK's full-year comebacks approaching, expectations for industry-wide earnings upgrades are rising. Fandom consumption is also shifting rapidly. Expanding from core fandoms to lighter fandoms has extended artist activity cycles and broadened their consumer base. We might have to think about this. Why would the transition happening from core fandoms to lighter fandoms actually end up, contributing to the lengthening of artist life cycles? That's interesting. This diversification across concerts, digital streaming, and merchandise has strengthened the industry's structural stability. Merchandise, in particular, is entering the early phase of high growth cycle. What used to be simple character goods is now expanding into lifestyle categories like home, fashion, and beauty, with region-specific MD lineups expected to further boost revenue. This trend should drive production leverage and become a key factor for long-term profitability improvement. Meanwhile, KATSEYE's sustained performance on global charts has proven the viability of the overseas localization model. Major entertainment companies are actively pursuing local artist projects in the US, Japan, and Latin America, with meaningful revenue growth expected from 2027 onward. Although, so far, KATSEYE is the only one who has really made waves globally, even though SM and JYP have both tried. Has YG tried something internationally? Anyways, I'm pretty sure the report is going to talk about that. As global markets expansion, fandom-based revenue models, and MD efficiency converge, the industry is entering its quote-unquote second growth cycle. The recent stock correction should be viewed as a temporary pause rather than a fundamental weakness, and from a long-term perspective, it offers an attractive entry point. Yep, I strongly agree with that. All right, so that was the first page, summary page. So if you have no time, have something better to do, you're welcome to leave. Make sure you leave comments about how you feel about that point. But now, for those of you who decide to stay with me for this video, let's keep moving on. Top pick, HYBE and YG Entertainment. 2026, a year of anticipated BLACKPINK and BTS momentum. HYBE is ready to buy with a target price of 380,000 Korean won, applying 45x target PE multiple to an estimated 2026 EPS of how much? 8,513 Korean won. The company has maintained solid earnings performance this year as the entertainment sector grew strongly on the back of concerts and MD sales. Short-term stock performance has been somewhat capped due to increased investment in new groups, which temporarily diluted profitability. Okay. However, the upcoming full girl comeback of BTS is expected to serve as a powerful near-term catalyst, with strong potential for upward earnings revisions. In addition, with the exceptional performance of KATSEYE, the debut of 2 localized groups in Latin America, and the planned launch of a US localized group, HYBE is accelerating its global expansion. These localization projects are expected to begin generating meaningful revenue from 2027 onward, reinforcing HYBE's long-term growth momentum. 2027, all right, in 2 years. With this combination of global IP expansion capabilities, financial strength, and strong content production power, HYBE is positioned as a structural growth stock and remains the top pick in the sector. And then it talks about YG. I'm gonna skip this part. Although I listen to all kinds of music, including all types of K-pop music for this video, and because of my channels. Well, for this video, I'm gonna skip this because I gotta get some sleep eventually. Also, whenever I make a video like this, there are always comments asking how they can buy HYBE stock. I have looked into it, but I don't know if I can offer good options for you, because depending on where you are, the options differ. So you might have to look into brokerage services that can help you buy international stocks such as HYBE. Okay. I don't know if I can find a valid and trustworthy option. I will let you know. But I think you guys are on your own in terms of finding it. I thought I heard some of my subscribers are in fact investing already, but we'll see. I'm gonna skip this. These graphs are about revenues. Oh wait, 순매수 변화. Okay, so this shows who is buying the stocks. Interestingly, lately, retail investors are buying HYBE stocks, while foreigners are leaving. Probably they're buying semiconductors and stuff. So the pink line represents the foreign investors, while blue line represents institutional investors domestically, and then gray line represents retail investors. And what usually happens is that as the stock price starts to rise, retail investors sell, and then institutional investors or foreign investors come in. But yeah, lately foreign investors have been selling. But we'll see. All right, section number two. A changing fandom and changing consumption patterns. From core fandoms to light fandoms. Interesting. The culture of fandom in the entertainment industry is undergoing a rapid transformation. What was once centered around Korea, China, and Japan has expanded to Southeast Asia, North America, and Europe, both in size and geography. Consumption patterns have also evolved from focusing intensely on a single group to enjoying multiple artists simultaneously. This shift represents the large-scale influx of light fandoms, meaning the industry is no longer dictated by a small number of core fans, but increasingly shaped by a much broader fan base. In the past, core fandoms drove album sales through competitive fan culture, and that's where I think a lot of toxic elements, toxic cultures, behaviors came from. Although that's what primarily drove the growth of K-pop industry in the past. There were some side effects, right? Let's see. Fans rallied around clear goals such as boosting YouTube views, achieving high first-week album sales, winning music show trophies, and sweeping year-end awards. Each fandom would openly set targets and compete to meet them, which fueled years of strong album growth. But in recent years, several factors, such as weakened purchasing power in China, government restrictions, and a slowing economy, have caused album sales to soften. More importantly, the intensity of fan-on-fan competition has declined. Do you agree with that? I I mean, still, there's quite a good amount of fan-on-fan competition, whether in a good way or a bad way, left. But I would say compared to the past, like in Korean domestic, environment alone, yeah, I think the competition has declined because back in the day, people got hurt physically. I mean, nowadays, the competition is still fierce online though, but it used to be quite bad offline as well. When back in the day when the K-pop started to grow initially. You know what I'm saying? Let's see. After peaking in 2023, mass album buying campaigns have been replaced since 2024 by coordinated streaming and digital promotion efforts overseas. This aligns with the concert big cycle noted in previous research. The rise of light fandoms is reshaping fandom culture. Unlike core fans who bought dozens or even hundreds of albums for fan sign events or first week sales battles, 초동, light fans spread their spending across multiple groups. They collect photo cards, buy a reasonable amount of merch, and trade items casually with friends or online communities. Since the number of photocard variations already spiked during the pandemic, the marginal need for additional album purchases has fallen. This softening of album sales can be interpreted not as a sign of weakness, but as a sign of the market maturing into a more sustainable, less overheated structure. This shift affects the industry in three major ways. 1. Wider fandom geography. Once concentrated in Korea and parts of Asia, fandoms are firmly establishing roots in North America and Europe, extending the reach of artists and magnifying the impact of full group comebacks for major acts. Second, more diversified spending patterns. The business model has moved far beyond physical album sales. Concerts, online content, pop-up stores, MD goods, and subscription platforms have all emerged as important revenue streams. 3. Faster global expansion through localization. Korean entertainment companies are increasingly debuting localized groups with local members, lowering market entry barriers and opening new revenue channels. For entertainment companies, these structural shifts require a fundamental strategic pivot. It's no longer enough to rely solely on core fandoms. Companies must develop ways to draw in light fans through MD planning, concert and tour content, and digital fan platforms. As fandoms expand globally, localization strategies and region-specific marketing have become key competitive differentiators. Interesting. Okay. I'm very curious what you guys think about what the report says about the changing pattern of the fandom culture. Here we go. Yeah. So now people are focusing on setting goals streaming wise instead of like buying up multiple copies of physical albums. And then there are tons of photo cards available per each member. This is 17 Mingyu. It says that the number of photo cards, like the types of photo cards, has already reached maximum. Wow. 5, 20, 26. 26? Wait, there's S-Coops and Mingyu. Okay, so it's S-Coops and Mingyu, 2 members. So there are tons of photo cards. I'm gonna skip that. This is the sales of physical albums. All right, next part. Extended lifespans of artists. This one is interesting. As Korea's entertainment industry undergoes a rapid structural shift, the active lifespans of artists are also becoming significantly longer compared to the past. Historically, most idol groups reached their peak about 5 to 7 years after debut. After that point, fandom turnover or waning interest often led to a natural decline in their activities. This was largely due to the industry's reliance on a core fandom structure. When a small, fixed group of fans drives most album sales and concert revenue, the debut of a new group or demographic shifts among fans can have an immediate and direct impact on a group's profitability. In Korea's competitive fan market, where loyalty can shift quickly and fan replacement cycles are short, this dynamic kept artists' lifespans relatively limited. Because of that structural constraint, many Korean entertainment companies historically focused on Japan, where fandoms tend to last longer and are more stable. Today, however, the expansion of live fandoms is structurally lengthening artists' life cycles, even within Korea. Okay, even within Korea. The debut of new groups no longer eats away at existing fandoms to the same degree, and fan culture is shifting from competition-based engagement to sustained consumption through music, content, and performances. In other words, the revenue model is moving away from short bursts of album buying competition toward long-term monetization through content, merch, and tours. In the US market, where live fandoms dominate, 70% of the top 40 touring artists of 2024 had debuted over 20 years ago. Okay, so meaning they are veterans and pretty old, but they're still prospering, right? In terms of their performances as artists. These artists steadily grow their concert revenue every year, regardless of whether they release new songs, by increasing ticket prices and expanding tour locations. The stronger the artist's performance legacy, the more their brand value compounds over time. K-pop is moving in a similar direction. Groups like BTS, BLACKPINK, Twice, and Stray Kids, now well past their 7 to 10-year marks, continue to sell out global tours and maintain a strong MD sales. Major Korean entertainment companies are also building long-term activity foundations by renewing contracts with their biggest IPs. Even after many years, these artists are expanding both their global tour footprints and MD revenue streams. Since international fandoms tend to prefer concert experiences over album purchases, legacy IPs with a deep catalog of hits are especially well positioned to generate steady income. This growing importance of high tenure IPs is helping stabilize the entire industry. In the past, annual earnings were highly sensitive to the success or failure of rookie debuts. Now, stable revenues from long-running legacy acts are layered on top of growth stories from rookies and localization projects, resulting in a more diversified and resilient profit structure. Okay. And I feel like this is pretty positive when it comes to... So, as the report described, in the past, it was all about the core fandoms, which is why if the core fans, the very well-known, fans with name values are saying something, threatening and bad about the group or the company, and, with a threat like, if you guys don't do this or if you disappoint me, I will just leave the fandom. That actually affects artist, group, or company, right? So, and some of the elements still remain these days. Some fans still cling to that old habit, old, fan culture. But now that the industry and the market itself has grown, they don't have that, power anymore. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, so that's pretty interesting. 2024 top 40 artists in terms of concert revenue. Who's number one? Paul McCartney. Wow. Paul McCartney has... I thought it would be Taylor Swift. Is there Taylor Swift? Do I see Taylor Swift here? Interesting. Did she not perform in 2024? Paul McCartney, Billy Joel. Oh. 2025년 기준 연차. 연차? Oh, sorry. So, this Paul McCartney is number one because he's the oldest. Yeah, the blue bar graphs are the age or the years that they were in the industry. Paul McCartney, Billy Joel, Eagles, Bruce, U2, George Strait, on and on and on. Metallica, Green Day. Wow, they're still performing. Usher, Foo Fighters, Pink, Ed Sheeran. Okay, Bruno Mars, Travis Scott, 17. Okay, 17 right here. Huh. I guess Taylor Swift is still young. That's why she's not in this graph, I'm assuming. Anyways. And then, K-pop artist, HYBE, 고연차 비중. Okay. 고연차 비중. So this shows the percentage of artists within each label that are like relatively senior, like 5 to 7 years in their career. All the popular idols have suffered from the so-called 7-year jinx or 7-year curse. And this is the list of all the artists like G.O.D, H.O.T, Jax Kicks, TVXQ, FX, Missy, 21, Secret Beast, 4 Minute, Rainbow, Sistar, Kintop, Infinite, B1A4, BAP, Big Star, Girlfriend, G-Friend, and Lovelies. About 50% of the major artists are 7 years or older. BTS 17, TX. Okay, so within HYBE, BTS 12 years, 17 10 years, TXT 6 years, and Hyphen, LaStar Fam, James, Boy Next Door, To Us, Aled, Cortez. And I think they didn't list KATSEYE or N-Team or Alwen because they're not domestic, I think. Okay, it's SM, JYP, YG. YG has a lot of analysts say that YG needs to expand portfolio, but right now they're simply focusing on few groups. Lately they've been investing a lot in Baby Monster though. All right, next section is titled Content Shift Toward a Content-Centered Market. As K-pop fandoms become increasingly global, the marketing strategies of the entertainment industry are undergoing a fundamental shift. In the past, the typical model involved offline activities such as album showcases, fan sign events, and concerts, which helped artists build close relationships with fans through direct interaction. But with fandoms now spread across the world, this approach faces clear physical limits. Many artists can only visit a single country once or twice a year, making offline fan engagement far less effective than it used to be. That's pretty true. As a result, content-centered fandom management and global marketing have emerged as a new core strategy of the entertainment industry. Entertainment companies have also come to accept that producing a universally loved hit song with every album is simply unrealistic. What do you think about that? Instead, the focus is shifting toward creating ongoing, connective content that keeps fans engaged. Many artists now produce multiple music videos per album and maintain their narrative through variety shows, vlogs, and documentaries during their inactive periods. Okay, that's an interesting perspective. The format of this content is also diversifying rapidly, from simple vlogs to cooking shows, reality programs, and survival series, greatly expanding the range of fan engagement. In fact, the major entertainment companies have been increasing their content production budgets by double digits each year. And content competitiveness has effectively become a key factor in determining an artist's longevity. The major entertainment companies have been increasing their content production budgets by double digits each year. And I always wonder about that. because all the contents that HYBE labels channels have been uploading on their YouTube channels or Weverse communities, they are high quality. So they must cost, pretty significantly. But I always had a question, do they, the revenues that they raise are like outperforming costs? Not necessarily, because it might be more of a long-term, initiatives, specifically focusing on fan engagement. But yeah, I once said that it almost feels like each label or each like HYBE label YouTube channel is their own broadcasts, because the contents that they put out, all the entertainment contents, are super high quality. For rookie groups, content can be a matter of survival. And yeah, I'm pretty sure BTS and ARMY know what that means. BTS put out content not necessarily to entertain at the time, before or after debut, but to survive. Let their names be known and let them communicate directly with the fans. Capturing a global fandom early on requires more than good music and strong performances. It demands visually compelling storytelling. KATSEYE, for example, used a Netflix documentary to naturally introduce their story to international fans, rapidly boosting awareness and successfully establishing a foothold in the market. In this way, content has evolved from a mere promotional tool to a central instrument for building fandoms and artist brands. However, this intensified content competition comes with rising production cost. Global fans increasingly expect higher quality and faster updates, forcing entertainment companies to keep releasing new content even during inactive periods. This is why content monetization is expected to become a critical task in the coming years. Now, the dilemma would be how to monetize contents without angering or frustrating or disappointing fans who are not willing to pay for contents, right? Because so far, I mean, some of the contents are getting monetized with the paywall and stuff, like for Weverse and stuff, but most of the contents are free, right? The YouTube channel videos, for example. But now the report says that at some point the companies might have to consider a monetization of contents. Okay, interesting. While most artist-generated content is still offered for free, yeah, it actually talks about it. There's growing potential for revenue models like paid membership exclusive content and premium subscription services. For instance, Weverse already offers some content exclusively to membership holders, and similar models are likely to expand across the entire industry. Let me know if you if you are using the premium subscription services, whether on Weverse or any other platforms, and I don't know your satisfaction, whether you're satisfied or not. And these are the 신부 관련 컨텐츠 수 비교. Number of contents per comeback per artist. Or yeah, Cortez. Wow, more than 15. Yeah, Cortez had put out a lot of contents. TXT, so they're top 2 right now. Baby Monster, Kid Flip, Stray Kids, Tuas, and Mix, NCT Wish, aespa. Interesting. So top 2 are HYBE. Tuas is also HYBE. KATSEYE documentary, Baby Monster, Baemun House. Okay, Baby Monster House. aespa VR concert. 17 Nana tour. The Seraphim digital. Okay. The Seraphim digital code. Oh, season greetings. Interesting. Special contents. All right, next session. Overseas localization groups. The next growth engine. Rapid growth of localized K-pop groups. Over the past decade, the K-pop industry has achieved explosive growth in the global market, but it has also faced clear limitations stemming from cultural differences in fandom behavior and consumption patterns. These differences often acted as barriers to deeper market penetration. To address this, entertainment companies introduced a new strategy, localization groups. Unlike traditional overseas expansion, this model aims to build sustainable fandoms within each region. Japan has been the most notable success case. Starting in the mid 2010s, major companies such as HYBE, HYBE, and CJENM launched local editions and nurtured Japan-based groups. Today, more than 7 localized groups are active in the Japanese market. These groups are not only popular domestically, but are also gaining visibility on global music charts, widely recognized as successful examples of localized K-pop systems. Thanks to Japan's loyal and long-term fandom cultures, these groups have shown steady and sustained growth rather than being short-lived fads. Similar localization efforts are now accelerating in the US market. Among them, KATSEYE stands out as a prime example. Their album, released in June 2025, has remained on the Billboard Hot 100 and Top 200 charts for months. On Spotify, their monthly listeners currently rank 4th among K-pop girl groups, behind BLACKPINK, BTS, and TWICE. This turnaround is particularly remarkable considering their underwhelming debut results. Their popularity surged after a Netflix documentary aired last year, boosting their Spotify weekly streams from 3 million to 10 million in just a month. I wonder, so they're attributing KATSEYE's growing popularity to Netflix documentary. That might be the case, but I thought the breaking point was Gnarly and their latest album. I love the first album and the music was great, but I think it still did well though, like for Touch, for example. Although, yeah, Touch is a good song, but some people say that considering the character of KATSEYE as a group and individual members, Touch is not really fitting. I get the point. Okay, but they're saying that Netflix documentary also contributed to their growing popularity. Through consistent local activities, they have now achieved the highest streaming number. Oh, I already read that. HYBE's content strategy was at the core of this success. By reinforcing their storytelling through the Netflix documentary and maintaining fan engagement via platforms like TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and other social media, the group built a cohesive global narrative. This strategy blends K-pop's signature production capabilities with a deep understanding of local culture, going beyond music exports to create a content-driven brand expansion model. Currently, KATSEYE is performing in mid-sized venues with an audience of around 8,000 per show. However, they are expected to level up to arena tours next year, with stadium-level potential on the horizon if this growth trajectory continues. Yeah, I feel like they are more than capable of doing that, as long as they stay healthy, both physically and mentally. Currently, I read that the success of Localization Group is seen as a key to breaking through K-pop's growth ceiling. By nurturing artists tailored to each region's culture, language, and consumption habits, the industry is dramatically expanding its global footprint. In the coming years, more localization groups are expected to emerge not only in the US and Japan, but also in China, Latin America, and Southeast Asia, paving the way for a truly sustainable globalization model for K-pop. Nice. KATSEYE, killing it on Spotify, on Billboard, doing well. Billboard Hot 100, career high. BTS, of course, hitting Billboard Hot number 1. Psy number 2, Blackpink 13, 50-50, 17, 50-50, 17, with the song, what was it, the title of the song? Cupid. KATSEYE, number 45. Boom. That's amazing. Documentary. After documentary, KATSEYE daily streams have increased. Okay. All right. Interesting. Oh, okay. Then it makes sense because the latest album dropped this year. Okay, so that was a very great promotional marketing initiatives, the Netflix documentary. Although, for those of you who watched the documentary with me, I did my live reaction on my channel, right? Fans' responses were kind of split, right? Some fans were glad about the content, but some fans were not so pleased with the editing. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, alright, this is an interesting part. Why idol groups struggle to emerge in Western markets. And this is something that HYBE CEO talked about either in the last earnings conference call or the one before that. The idol group model has historically faced structural barriers in Western markets. The most fundamental challenge is the combination of high upfront capital requirements and low probability of commercial success. The Western music market spans a wide geographical range. It's culturally and linguistically diverse, and is dominated by light fandom consumption. For a new group to secure a foothold in this environment, companies must invest massive amounts in marketing and promotion. As a result, most major Western labels have chosen not to develop their own idol groups from scratch. Instead, they focus on signing or acquiring already successful artists, which involves far less risk than nurturing rookies. HYBE, however, has found a way to break through this barrier with a distinct model built on two key strengths. One, deep financial resources. It's estimated that around 30 billion Korean won was invested in the debut of KATSEYE. Wow, 30 billion. Similar investment levels are expected for HYBE's two upcoming Latin American localization groups, which are being launched through large-scale TV show-style projects. And speaking of which, Santos Bravos, they are having a debut in less than 24 hours, if I remember correctly. Bravos. Yep, I was right. October, 21st? I thought it was October 22nd. With a track called 0%. Santos Bravos. Santos Bravos. News. Debut in Mexico City. Yep. Debut concert sold out. I'm super looking forward to this group. Anyways, going back to the report. But there's a lot of investments that put into these groups. That's what the report says. A powerful in-house distribution platform. So that's a second element where the distinction model was built on. HYBE owns the HYBE label's YouTube channel, which has roughly 78 million subscribers. This channel acts as a global hub, simultaneously distributing official content for BTS, 17, LSTRFM, on, and other HYBE artists to fans worldwide. This structure gave KATSEYE debut-level exposure, comparable to that of established mega IPs, allowing them to build broad awareness from the very start, essentially enabling global promotion at low cost with high efficiency. Although I wonder, didn't the subscription number stay in this range for a long time? 78 million? I thought they would. I wonder when they're gonna break the ceiling of, I don't know, 80 million. Because I felt like the growth kind of feels stagnant in terms of the subscriber numbers. Thanks to these structural advantages, entertainment companies are accelerating their localization group strategies. HYBE has already debuted the Japanese localization group AOEN this year, along with two Latin American groups, and is preparing to launch both the US girl group and a boy group next. Yeah. And in fact, N-Team is going to debut in Korea right? And that boy group, American boy group, is going to be produced by Ryan Tedder, right? And US girl group that has 3 members from the Dream Academy. Of course, not every localization attempt succeeds. Vicha, JYP Entertainment's US localization group, initially drew attention at debut but failed to sustain public interest. After some member departures, the team rebranded as Girl Set, but response remains lukewarm. Yeah, that's kind of a unfortunate case. Girl Set. Yeah, and a lot of fans say that they've got lots of potential, but I don't know. And when KATSEYE first debuted, or right before their debut, a lot of people made comparisons between the two groups, right? But then the paths have been quite different for these two groups. I still remember in the beginning of my channel, there's that one user literally named Vicha is better than KATSEYE. That was their username. Trolling, writing some weird comments. Oh well, not gonna talk about that. Even so, JYP is expected to apply lessons from this experience to its upcoming Latin American localization group in 2026. Interesting. The company plans to significantly increase its content production and promotion budget, with the likely emphasis on narrative-driven YouTube content. How they differentiate their approach this time will be a key point to watch. Look how other companies are following in the footsteps of HYBE. Yeah, that's pretty interesting. And let's see. SM, yeah, Dear Alice. Are they still doing their things? That's a SM localization group in UK. JYP had their own group in China. And Girl Said, who used to be called Vicha. Awen, HYBE. I like Awen's music. Santos Bravos and Latin Band Edition. Yeah, I think the report later talks about that. Okay, we're almost there. Future outlook for overseas localization groups. The monetization of overseas localization groups is expected to become meaningful once they reach the scale necessary to hold world tours. In Western markets, physical album sales are far smaller than in Asia, so the core revenue structure depends on live performances and merchandise sales. This is the same reason why most artists in the US and Europe rely more on touring revenue than streaming or digital sales. For localization groups to generate stable income, securing a strong concert draw is essential. KATSEYE, which debuted in 2024, is widely regarded as a benchmark success case. Shout out to KATSEYE and Icons. Within just 1 year of debut, the group launched an 8,000-seat US tour and is expected to expand to arena-level venues, 15,000 to 20,000 seats per show next year. Assuming 30 arena shows with an average capacity of 15,000, they could attract approximately 450,000 attendees. With an average ticket price of 150,000 Korean won, this translates to an estimated 67.5 billion Korean won in revenue. If their tour grows to dome-level venues, around 25,000 seats, the potential climbs to 1.26 trillion Korean won in revenue based on 600,000 attendees. That's a huge number. This illustrates why the revenue model for localization groups is better viewed as a long-term growth engine centered on concerts and MD rather than short-term album sales. As tour scale grows, MD revenue tends to increase exponentially. For K-pop groups whose fandoms are largely built online, local tours serve as more than just concert. They are pivotal moments for strengthening global fan engagement. For this reason, HYBE and other major entertainment companies are expected to continue expanding localization groups across North America, Latin America, and Europe. Once these groups establish sufficient live audience drawing power, full-scale monetization and valuation re-rating of their parent companies are likely to follow. Interesting. Okay. So they are already estimating how much revenue could be generated once the local groups mature. Merchandise is still early days. Entering the early stage of a high growth cycle. The MD or merchandising business of Korea's major entertainment companies has entered the early stage of a high growth cycle. As concert attendance numbers surge, sales of concert linked MD are rising rapidly, and the range of regularly sold products has expanded significantly compared to the past. Previously, most goods were one off promotional items tied to album releases or tours. Now, companies are focusing on everyday lifestyle categories such as home goods, fashion, and character merchandise. Pop-up stores timed with album releases have become standard practice, and MD has evolved from a side business into one of the industry's core revenue pillars. HYBE is considered the most advanced and structured player in this space. The company tailors its product lineup to reflect each artist's fandom characteristics and country-specific demand. For example, Le Sserafim and ENHYPEN have adopted a living goods strategy that encourages frequent purchases and stronger fan loyalty through practical, everyday use products. Yeah. Their approach also highlights HYBE's ability to customize merchandise based on global fandom distribution. Okay. SM Entertainment is pursuing the most aggressive expansion in the regular MD category. It is broadening its product portfolio with bags, t-shirts, and accessories while adopting a limited edition production strategy to stoke fans' desire to own collectibles. In fan communities, SM goods are known to sell out quickly or take months to ship after pre-orders, both a sign of strong demand and a signal that supply chain optimization is needed. Interesting. JYP Entertainment has carved out a competitive edge in character merchandise, owning unique character IPs for each artist group. Demand in this segment remains solid, and margins are estimated to be higher than other MD categories. YG Entertainment is also expanding its product lineup, following a HYBE-like model centered on practical, lifestyle-oriented goods. I actually like these shirts and sweatshirt. The Seraphim collab merch. Let's see. This business segment is still at the early stage of its growth curve, with considerable upside ahead. Regional customization remains limited. Okay. Aside from Japan, most global markets currently share similar product lineups. As MD strategies become more localized, reflecting regional preferences and consumption habits, sales potential is expected to grow significantly. Production efficiency is still improving. At present, companies tend to produce conservatively due to limited accuracy in demand forecasting. In overseas markets, high logistic costs and outsourced production structures are keeping margins lower. However, the four major entertainment companies are now investing in internalizing MD operations and upgrading their demand forecasting through data analytics. As they build richer proprietary purchase data, their ability to predict fan demand should improve, leading to better production efficiency and faster inventory turnover. This evolution could make MD one of the most profitable and scalable business pillars in the entertainment sector. Interesting. Okay. And I think this is these are concert statistics. This might be, one more section about the MD. Expanding demand through region-specific MD lineups. Currently, most MD revenue in the entertainment industry is concentrated in the Korean and Japanese markets. One major reason is a lack of meaningful regional differentiation in product lineups. Except for Japan, most overseas concert locations offer MD identical to what's available in Korea. As a result, local fans in other regions often rely on proxy purchases or direct imports to obtain Korean MD rather than buying region-exclusive items. Interesting. Japan is a clear outlier here. Beyond the strong purchasing power of Japanese fandoms, what truly sets the market apart is its dedicated Japan-only MD lineup. The product design, categories, and pricing are tailored to local preferences, creating unique demand. This has led not only to robust domestic sales, but also to Korean and Chinese fans purchasing Japanese MD through proxy channels, illustrating how region-specific offerings can stimulate cross-border demand. The structural difference explains why MD revenue is heavily skewed toward Korea and Japan, while North America, Europe, and Southeast Asia remain relatively underrepresented. However, this imbalance is likely to ease in the coming years as entertainment companies deepen their understanding of local demand through global tours and fandom expansion. Region-specific MD strategies are expected to become a key focus. Once regional MD lineups are diversified, the impact will go beyond simple revenue growth. Exclusive or location-themed merchandise can spark stronger collector behavior within fandoms, increasing fan mobility and encouraging global fan-to-fan interaction and trading. In the short term, region-specific MD differentiation is expected to boost sales, while in the long term, it will strengthen the global network of fandoms and enhance brand equity. This suggests that the MD business will evolve from a secondary revenue stream into a strategic tool for fandom expansion and brand building in the entertainment industry. A quick question before I forget. What is a merchandise that you have bought that you're most satisfied with? Let me know in the comment section. Merch. How K-pop MD differs from Western artist merchandise strategies. Interesting. In the global music industry, MD has become a crucial revenue driver, but K-pop artists approach it very differently from their Western counterparts. For Western artists, MD sales are highly concentrated in a few key categories: t-shirts, hoodies, and caps. These top three product types account for about 63% of total MD revenue, with the vast majority of sales happening at concert venues. However, this venue-based structure comes with high distribution costs and venue commission fees, which limits profitability. Sales are also heavily concentrated among top-tier stars. For example, Taylor Swift's Eras Tour generated roughly $200 million in US dollars in MD sales alone. Wow, $200 million. With around 20 to 25% of concert goers purchasing goods on site. K-pop MD, on the other hand, has built a competitive advantage through a different fandom structure and business model. K-pop fandoms are expanding beyond core fans to include a broad base of life fans, fostering a strong collecting culture. MD is no longer limited to concert-linked items. Pop-up stores, online exclusive products, photo cards, character merchandise, and lifestyle goods have diversified the product lineup. According to data from @Venue, the average per capita MD spending at K-pop concerts is around $22, significantly higher than the global average of $12. The difference highlights how K-pop's diversified merchandise strategy and fan behavior creates stronger, more scalable revenue opportunities than the traditional Western MD model. And then it says, MD production leverage effect. Okay, I think until the end. Okay, this is the last section before they do individual company analysis. MD production leverage effect. The structure of the K-pop MD business has undergone a fundamental shift in recent years. In the past, light sticks dominated total MD revenue. Because light sticks have a long product life and can be sold consistently throughout an artist's career, they pose fewer challenges in demand forecasting. At concerts and pop-up events, non-light stick merchandise often sold out quickly, and many fans ended up buying multiple light sticks to meet lucky draw spending thresholds. This universal single product strategy made production highly efficient. Light sticks could be sold at all concerts worldwide and online with minimal localization needs. As a result, estimated margins exceeded 30%, making light sticks one of the most profitable MD categories. But this landscape is changing. As regular MD categories diversify, fandom consumption patterns have become more segmented. With more precise data analysis on fandom size and consumer trends, companies now have the foundation to scale up regular MD production. This has led to a gradual decline in Lightstick's share of total sales, while categories such as t-shirts, photo cards, accessories, and lifestyle goods are steadily increasing their weight. That said, the regular MD segment also has structural challenges. Sales are concentrated during specific periods, such as comebacks or tours. Production is fragmented across different manufacturers for each product category. For overseas markets, heavy reliance on outsourced local production introduces logistics, quality control, and foreign exchange risk, all of which constrain profitability. Because of these factors, average margins on regular MD are significantly lower than those for light sticks. Okay, interesting. Improving profitability in MD will be a key driver of valuation re-rating for entertainment companies. In the short term, achieving economies of scale through increased production volume is the most practical solution. Many artist MD items are still sold out through multiple pre-order rounds, showing that demand continues to outpace supply. Companies that can increase production while effectively managing inventory turnover will differentiate themselves in the market. So who's that going to be? HYBE? In the medium to long term, localizing MD lineups and improving demand forecasting accuracy will be critical. By tailoring MD strategies to reflect regional culture, income levels, and consumer preferences, companies can only increase sales, but also enhance supply chain efficiency and strengthen brand value. Some entertainment companies are exploring more structural solutions like establishing their own manufacturing facilities or in-house production systems. But given the realities of tariffs, inventory costs, and logistics, such moves are difficult to implement in the near term. For now, the most realistic path forward is refining data-driven demand forecasting and maximizing production leverage. Companies that lead in this area are likely to see the earliest valuation upgrades. Okay. In 2025, the combined MD revenue of the top 4 entertainment companies reached approximately 1.1 trillion Korean won, which is a 40% year-on-year increase. This reflects rising demand from expanded world tours and a broader range of regular MD items. Growth is expected to accelerate to 47% next year, driven in large part by the full group activities of BTS, which are projected to boost MD sales by 86% year on year. Fantastic. Okay, company analysis, and let's look at HYBE, and then we'll wrap it up. HYBE buy reinitiate target price 380,000 Korean won, strong in both the short and long term. HYBE is reinitiated with a buy rating and a target price of 380,000 Korean won. While its 3Q results are expected to fall short of consensus, this is due to increased investment in localization groups, which are set to drive future growth. The company is expected to deliver record earnings in 2026 with BTS return to full activity and accelerated global expansion through localization groups. HYBE remains the top pick in the entertainment sector. Yeah, multiple analysts have already talked about how Q3 might be underwhelming in terms of earnings because of the high cost in new groups. But once everybody knows about that, that doesn't become a surprise factor anymore when the earnings actually drops. Consolidated revenue is projected at, I'm going to skip these numbers. Let's see. The profit miss is attributed to higher than expected investment costs for new groups like Cortez and 2 Latin American localization groups. However, this is considered a rational decision in the context of the successful trajectory of KATSEYE in the US market. Following the launch of the Japanese localization group Awen, HYBE is set to debut Latin American groups Santos Bravos and Moza this year, and an American girl group in 2026, ensuring sustained localization momentum. And in 2026, with BTS return, HYBE is projected to achieve record consolidated revenue of 4.2 trillion Korean won, a 64% year-on-year increase, and operating profit of 476.7 billion Korean won, a 204% year-on-year increase. The group's full comeback is expected to trigger unprecedented demand, leading to the largest K-pop world tour ever. With strong pent-up demand, both the scale and ticket pricing are likely to exceed expectations, creating powerful earnings upgrade momentum once tour details are announced. Alongside this, the continued expansion of localization groups strengthens HYBE's long-term growth story. It remains the most attractive pick in the entertainment sector, both tactically and strategically. Interesting. And then it talks about other companies. So what do you think? What was the most memorable part from this report? And do you agree with it or do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts. And it seems like the future is bright for the industry. Now, I think the way we can contribute to the industry is that, I mean, for me at least, things are going great, artists are growing, fandoms are growing, but sometimes, I don't know, fandom culture can be tiring, right? Especially with all the like trolls, haters, antis, delusional fans, and the media and stuff. So what I want to do is, foster an environment where we can have mature and multidimensional discussions. So we can, enjoy music and fandom life while staying, staying balanced and mentally healthy. And in some ways, I hope that this can contribute to a better, culture overall. All right. And I might talk about this later. Anyways, as always, leave your thoughts in the comment section. I hope this was fun for you, informative. And it was really informative for me as a fan, as a researcher, as a content creator, and as a shareholder, as an investor. So thanks for staying with me. Let's stay positive, respectful, and classy. Thank you guys. Peace and love. Bye-bye.